Jai Saparika Shri Guru Gaur Chandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Upasana Sriman Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Upasana Sriman Śrīla Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai, Jai, Jai. Jai Shri Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur Ki Jai. And Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur Abhirbhav Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. So, this morning we will try to sing some of the glories of Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, but they're oceanic. So we're hoping to respectfully approach one drop of that ocean of Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. Vandeham Shri Guru Śrī Caitanya Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavangscha Śrī Rūpam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Ditang Stam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitangscha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Śrī Caitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rūpa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Haribol. We're approaching an ocean. We're approaching the ocean of divine existence, divine sound. And there are many lighthouses in this ocean. In our Guru Parampara, those great luminaries within the Guru Parampara, they are the lighthouses that are guiding us. And really, we feel that we're just beginning to approach that ocean. It is true, really. But somehow or other we can have some vision of those lighthouses that are there to help us along the way. And Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, of course, is one of the great, great luminaries in the Vaishnava sky, or in this divine ocean. It's so, we really feel small to be able to approach that divine subject of Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. And Srila Guru Maharaj is, telling us something about the life of Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, how he was educated in Ula, and lived with his maternal uncle, and was, educated. He was super, super talented, and everybody knew that. But anyway, he was educated and the teacher was very much trying to convert the Bengali boys to Christianity. And he did. He was very, some success was there in converting people. And the reason that they can be converted was because they had no substantial association in I guess what you would call Hinduism at that time. They didn't know. You're raised in a family, and there are so many family traditions, but the roots are not there. They don't really understand very much about it. And so a lot of them were easily converted by a really enthusiastic preacher of Christianity. So, because, there was just a bunch of tradition all around in it. And when, from the Western point of view, and at that time people were very, very excited about the West. Oh, they have this and they have that and they live like this. And so any influential type of personality could convert somebody who didn't really understand anything about their own religion to, well, this is all just hocus pocus nonsense. And we have something really substantial, and the great savior of the Western world came, and he thought, so on like that. So Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur was in that kind of environment in his education. But then later on he went to, after he was, after that education was there, then he went to, he was posted in Jagannath Puri, and he also became very much, very much part of this Brahma society. And they had their own doctrine and their own feelings. So later he was posted in Orissa, and he had some very responsible position. Actually, he was very well known. He was super brilliant, and he was very well known. And the Brahma Society expected a lot from him. They expected him to be able to influence people about their doctrine. But while he was posted in Orissa, and at times he was even the inspector of the Jagannath temple there, meaning to inspect to see that there was no corruption going on. But then he found the Bhagavatam. And when he found the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, he began to read it. This is all, of course, all the divine plan of Krishna. And when he began to read it, he was deeply affected by the Bhagavatam. And he began to, he even, in Dinajpur, there's a famous lecture by Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, and at that time he completely disassociated himself with that Brahma society and began writing books, reading extensively, and also writing books about Vaishnavism. And he had about, 11 children. He had 8 sons, maybe, and maybe 3 daughters. But his 4th son was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his name was Bimal Prasad at that time. And from the beginning, that particular child, was extremely attracted to Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. And even when he went to school, he couldn't stand any opposition to the doctrine of Mahaprabhu, and he would defeat them. Because Srila Saraswati Thakur was so brilliant. No one could defeat him. He was like Mahaprabhu. And he was just... And so finally he had to leave his school because he just couldn't tolerate it. He couldn't stand to hear any atheistic or lower conception than what Mahaprabhu gave, and he was defeating everyone. But Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur had prayed for this kind of son. Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur was writing so much and revealing so much to the world, and also re-establishing Vaishnavism as it is. So at that time, Vaishnava, those who called themselves Vaishnavas, they became degraded people. I mean, we could say the Vaishnava world had become covered with these so-called Vaishnavas who are just degraded people and who just would go. And so when someone came to the door of a householder and said he was a Vaishnava, and he's begging. They're like, oh, a Vaishnava's at the door. Give him some rice and send him away. And these, they were calling themselves. So the real Vaishnavism had been covered quite a lot. And Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur brought it out, and with new brilliance. He just, gave all these lectures, wrote all these songs, but they are not intellectual. They were the outpouring of a great personality's heart who came to the world and showed his expertise, like Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu showed his expertise. He could argue anything. Mahaprabhu was always talking about nyaya, logic and grammar and all these and that's a big subject in Sanskrit. And he was, and the Vaishnavas were like, oh, if only that Nimai Pandit would become a Vaishnava, he would be so great. And so when he showed himself as a great Vaishnava, no one questioned him. He could defeat anybody in any subject. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you could say his early life leading up to his reading the Bhagavatam was something like that. He was really an outstanding person and very brilliant. But then when he read the Bhagavatam, he could defeat anything that he had already said. And, so he was just kind of in a similar line. But he was praying for some personality to come who could carry that to the world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was coming to his older age, and he wanted to retire and go to Vrindavan. And that was what he wanted to do. He wanted to retire and just live out the last portion of his life in Vrindavan, like the 6 Goswamis. And indeed, he's considered the 7th Goswami, being an eternal Parshad of Mahaprabhu. But he got a dream, a divine dream, and repeatedly, that you have the job to reveal the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. So he was living in Mayapur, near Surabi Kunja, and he went there and again took service in Krishnanagar because he had retired from his government post, and he was. But he again took government service in Krishnanagar, and in Krishnanagar he had access to all the files of the region, of that region, and he could. Thank you, Prabhu. Really appreciate that. So there he had access to all the records of the area, and he was trying to find out some history or some kind of record that would indicate where Mahaprabhu took birth. And he was becoming a little bit, sad that he wasn't able to do that service and he couldn't find that. But then, by inspiration, by his inner vision, he's chanting in the early morning, and he's feeling this wind coming past. And it's some wonderful thing going in a certain direction. And then he saw the vision in his dream of this wonderful temple at Yogapit. And indeed, he went to that area, and he found out from some locals, oh, nothing will grow in this place, only tulsi. We can't grow anything. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was, and then he realized that wind, by his inner vision, was Nrsingadev going to the arti, the eternal arti, going beyond our vision, but going on there in Yogapit worshipping Mahaprabhu. And so some other confirmations were there, and he established the service, that service would always go on at Yogapit. And of course we always go there, and that neem tree is there, and so many things are there. And, always when we're, oh my goodness, Krishnananda Prabhu knows when you go there, and of course Brajamohini here, how we'll go to Mayapur in the early morning, crossing the Ganga. How is it possible? We get on our boats, get on the several boats or mini boats and go across the Ganga and go there to Mayapur and go to that Sarabikunja and that area where Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur's house was in Godruma, and then go to Yogapit there, where that eternal pastime of Mahaprabhu's birth is always there. And it is such an incredible thing. And so Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, Guru Dham, gave us Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Grantha Dham, gave so many beautiful scriptures, beautiful writings, Sharanagati, always emphasizing Sharanagati, and that book of prayers called Sharanagati, book of kīrtans, and so many of them we're singing regularly. Gaura Damadam, he revealed Mayapur. And so we, just now, yesterday, hearing about Srila Jiva Goswami's appearance, and how Srila Jiva Goswami met with Nityananda Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu revealed to Jiva Goswami the entire Mayapur, Navadvip area, and where Mahaprabhu had his various pastimes, to Srila Jiva Goswami. That is one of the most isn't it? Yeah. You can't deny. When we can't go to Mayapur and to Navadvip during that time before Mahaprabhu's appearance, we take so much comfort in that book. And honestly, we really feel that we are there, don't you? You feel that you really are on Navadvip Dham Parikrama just by reading that book. Only the aching of that you're not, there physically. Jai Mahaprabhu, Jai Giraju Ki Jai. So this is such a wonderful thing. And that book was given to us by Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. How much Scripture is the revelation of the hearts of the great souls, and that the degree or the glory of that Scripture will be according to that heart of that Vaishnava. And so this Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, all these books, Sharanagati, the Bhagavat, Mula Tattva, so many things have been given to us by Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. And who is he? We can't conceive of him. He's compared to Sri Gadadhar Pandit and so many inconceivable things. Anyway, so by his grace, Gurudam, Grantadam, Gauradhamadam, Namadam, all these different things we've been given by Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, and Srila Saraswati Thakur took all of that wealth because he could take that wealth. So Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur is not just praying for a particular son who was a devotee. All the householders hope that their child will be a devotee of Krishna. But that someone could take that wealth of Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur fully, like really fully. No, he's that type of quality of Vaishnava that could fully embrace all those gifts of Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur and distribute them without compromise to the world. And that was Srila Saraswati Thakur. Haribol. So I was thinking that we could go through the Mula Tattva. These are the very basic, well, you say basic, but basic 10 principles of Vaishnavism, or of truth, which is synonymous with that. So this is the Mula Tattva, the 10 fundamental principles. Hare Krishna. Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur is not a stranger, and none of our Guru Varga are strangers to us. We mustn't make the mistake of thinking of them as historical personalities. They are on one level, of course, but their presence is always there with us. If we are, we're trying to serve them and please them, they know how unqualified we are. So we are fully actually dependent upon their grace. And Śrīla Rūpa Goswāmī, Śrīla Gurudev is quoting Rupa Goswami saying, "Oh boy, you are unqualified. Do not neglect to take shelter of the Vaishnavas." And that is our real wealth. And we are not actually looking to be qualified in the sense that we will not take shelter of the Vaishnavas. We want that position eternally. There's no better aspiration. We always want to be under the holy lotus feet and in the service of a Vaishnava. That service is so exalted if we could only get it. And we're trying to get that. Anyhow, and another point that I wanted to make was about the Guru Parampara, because there are many, when we're singing the song of the Guru Parampara, which we'll sing later on today in our evening program for the observance of this beautiful, most shiningly beloved day of the appearance of Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. But there's not so many names. This is beginning with Brahma. Brahma is coming from Brahma, who's directly revealed by dint of who he is as a Vaishnava. By dint of that and his meditation, everything was revealed to him about Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu Kalpa Viksha Lakshavarteshu Surabhi Ravipalyantam. He's saying this from his mouth, coming straight from his inner inspiration of his heart. Lakshmi Shahashashata Sambrahma Sevyamanam. Who can say this? Who can say how the Lord is being served by hundreds of millions of super affectionate Braja Gopis? These things are not. So this is Lord Brahma. He is the head of our sampradaya. And then from Brahma to Narada to Vyasa and so on and so on. But it's not so many names. And this is a very long time. But Srila Guru Maharaj explains that just like in the sky, there are so many stars, but there are the main luminaries, the very main planets are the ones that we talk about generally, that we know about, the sun, the moon, Venus, the Saturn, these different very big luminaries. So in the same way, the parampara system is like that. The really prominent luminaries in our Guru Sampradaya And then, of course, coming to Madhavendra Puri, where the sprout of divine love is first manifest. Then who are his disciples, you know? Madhavendra Puri's disciples. Who came? You could say disciples, but they are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, who is Mahavishnu, Sadashiva, and those, and then of course Ishvara Puri and others, and then Ishvara Puri, then Mahaprabhu ostensibly coming in that line. So this is all in that line, but these are the great luminaries of that line, what to speak, of course, of Mahaprabhu. And then from him, and then Rūpa Goswāmī and the 6 Goswamis, chiefly Rūpa Goswāmī and Śrīla Sanatana Goswami, even considers him worshipable, even though ostensibly Sanatana Goswami is the guru of Rūpa Goswāmī, or the elder brother, but he's also, and then coming down, and the great luminaries from Rūpa Goswami, and then coming to Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur and Śrīla Saraswati Thakur. And so that's an important thing to remember. And in between there are others, and they're all worshipable. But the great, great luminaries, those are the ones who are showing up in the sky of time. So anyway, here are the 10 fundamental principles given to us by Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. So we're going to read the English for these. Shri Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur ki Jai, Shri Mula Tattva ki Jai. So we want this fundamental, we should learn these. These are the basis, the platform on which other things can be understood properly. And we need to know these things, or we can be led astray easily. Easily. Just get online and get crazy from all the stuff you'll find under the banner of Krishna consciousness. Sri Gaurachandra personally teaches the souls that 1, revealed knowledge establishes the truth. So what is revealed knowledge? What is coming down, Amnaya? What is coming down through the hearts of the great souls, that can be shown to the world, and that is what is to be known as truth. Hari is supreme. This is revealed, you can't argue with this if you know anything about Scripture. He is omnipotent. And we were talking about yesterday in the breakfast discussion. Omnipotent means what? He has all the power. It's all his. And some delegated power may come in this person, this person, this person, this person. But it all belongs to Hari. He's omnipotent. He is an ocean of rasa, an ocean of taste, an ocean of nectar. The souls are as separated parts. So we are part of the Lord, of course. Nothing is not part of the Lord. Even as we were reading in the Gita, all these things, anger, all these different so-called negative, or they are, but they still belong to Him. And the soul can choose this path or that path, but they're all His paths. Everyone follows my path in all respect. But we have free will. So the soul are separated parts, separated but parts. And they are either covered by material energy, or 7, they are liberated from material energy by devotion. Everything is a manifestation, distinct and non-distinct from Hari. and pure devotion is the way, and love for Hari is the goal. Isn't that lovely? So succinct. And so everything needs to be in this line. Any questions about that? Within one verse, which conveys the gist of the Mula Tattva, Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. You know what Mula means? Mul, roots. So the Mula Tattva, the 10 roots of truth. Tattva means truth. You want to go through the list again? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, just quickly the list.
Yeah, no. Okay. So, revealed truth. Revealed knowledge establishes the truth. So, real truth is called amnai, going down, coming down. True Hari is supreme. He is omnipotent. He is an ocean of rasa. The souls are his separated parts. They are either covered by material energy or liberated from material energy by devotion. Everything is a manifestation, distinct and non-distinct from Hari, and pure devotion is the way, and love for Hari is the goal. Okay. Within this one verse, which conveys the gist of Mula Tattva, Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur has given us everything. He has given us the whole conception of Mahaprabhu Śrī Caitanya Dev and Krishna consciousness. If you can read and memorize this verse, then everything will be within you. The full conception of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Śrīla Guru Maharaj, Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Śrī Goswami Maharaj, and Śrī Caitanya Saraswati, everything, the gist of all revealed knowledge, amnai, is within this one verse. But don't try to understand this verse by yourself. Hear it from an expert. Everywhere throughout all the scriptures, this advice is given. You must hear from an expert. So hear this verse from an expert who knows the meaning. If you hear from him with full faith, you will understand properly what is what, and you will get everything. So this goes on to, of course, now we're hearing from an expert, Śrīla Guru Maharaj, Śrīla Gurudev, and this is called Amnai, Chapter 1. And this is such a beautiful book. So we should study this now, after we are finished with Upadeshamrita, if that's possible. Then we should read this whole, and of course on our own. We want to read this full explanation of Mula Tattva here from Revealed Truth by Śrīla Gurudev. Very wonderful. My gosh. Hare Krishna. Oh, I'm getting excited now to read this again. So beautiful. I even forgot that Amnai Tattva, or that Mula Tattva was in this book. So anyway, so now Śrīla Guru. So we are reading it. Okay, so this is something of the Glories of Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, but I wanted to read from this other article actually, and this was published some time ago in Śrī Caitanya Saraswati. But it is a really beautiful article and quite comprehensive. So we should know who Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur is and really pay attention when we are reading and singing the songs of Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur from the songbook, and remembering, yes, this has come from him. So much has come from him. I mean, it's really, truly, like, literally oceanic. So I'm just going to begin to read from this article. This was actually compiled by Jagamohini Didi. This was some time back. And I was just looking through the Mott website last night, and nothing had come up yet. It was in the later afternoon, and nothing had been posted yet of the various articles. So I looked in previous articles, and this popped up. And so I wanted to read this morning. And of course, Vande Bhaktivinodam Śrī Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastra Gisamrajam Radha Rasa Siddhanitim. And we're singing this with the Vandana prayers. I bow down to Śrī Thakur Bhaktivinod Mahāprabhu's loved divine personified. He is the king of all knowers of the purpose of the scriptures, and he is the ocean of Sri Radha's devotion. So these are not exaggerations. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Murtaye Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupa Nuga Varayate. I offer my obeisances to you, O Bhaktivinod, the form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, the incarnation of Gaura's potency, and the best of the followers of Rupa Goswami. Our divine great-grandfather, Acharya Upasana Thakur, appeared at a time when the world of Gaudiya Vaishnavism was in a dire situation. When we were talking about that. In other words, it had been covered over. It was, of course, always luminous, but for the world, it had been covered over. And who can uncover that? Not a small matter. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote that when Mahaprabhu and his associates had left this world to enter the Lord's eternal pastimes, the sky over Bengal slowly darkened, covered by the thick clouds of sense enjoyment and false renunciation. The sky was covered and the world was bereft of the rays of light coming from Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan. One by one, the sun, the moon, and the unlimited stars of that sky faded from view. Almost 350 years after the appearance of Mahaprabhu, the divine Sun, Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, Sun, S-U-N, Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur came to illuminate the Gaudiya sky, dispel the clouds. And Srila Saraswati Thakur, fully armed, came into the world. Fully armed. Like, don't even think about it. No one could defeat him. He was terrifying. To the non-devotional world, to the fake world, to the imitationist world, to the Sahajya world, to the Mayavad world, he was terrifying. And really, they would dive into anything diveable when he came down the road. This is actually historically true. Haribol. Almost 350 years after the appearance of Mahaprabhu, the divine Sun, Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur, came to illuminate the Gaudiya sky. He took birth in a well-known aristocratic Kayastha family on the 2nd of September, 1838, in the town of Ula, near Birnagar in the district of Nadia, Bengal. Okay. He was a son of Raja Krishna Datta, a great devotee of Nityananda Prabhu and Jagat Mohini Devi, and was given the name Kedarnath Datta. He studied at Krishnanagar College and was extremely well known by the surrounding educated society for his goodness, his vast intellect, his scholarly nature, and his exceptional talent at debating and writing. He accepted the role of government service. Oh my goodness, how nice to see you. Oh, I think about you quite often. I'm really happy to see you this morning. I'm okay. And you? Well, we'll talk later. So today's Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur's appearance day. So we're just reading something now. So we'll just continue reading, and then we can catch up. He accepted the role of government service for his livelihood, and for a time he was posted as an officer in Orissa, and as an inspector of the Jagannath Puri temple. His duty there was to guard against corruption. He established regulated worship of the deity, and he organized daily discourses in Srimad Bhagavatam in the temple courtyard, even in Puri. He established the reading of the Bhagavatam. So he was a very influential personality, influential in a good way. And he never, from the beginning, he was known for his good character. Not only his scholarship, but his very good character. Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur spent much time chanting the holy names and regularly took darshan of the holy places in Sri Puri Dham, especially Tota Gopinath Mandir, the Samadhi of Sri Haridas Thakur, and Siddha Bakul and the Gambhira. So these are places of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. While serving in Dinajpur, he gave his speech saying, "The Bhagavat, the revealed scripture of the Vaishnavas, does not allow its followers to ask anything from God except eternal love towards Him." Knowing that the future Vaishnavism would spread across the world, he said, "See how universal is the Vaishnava religion? It is not intended for a certain class of Hindus alone, but it is a gift to man at large, in whatever country he was born, and in whatever society he is bred. It is for everyone. It doesn't matter." But this is very revolutionary at that time. What? And so he wanted that Srila Saraswati Thakur would bring this to the West. And which book was it now? I'm forgetting. But he was sending it, to different universities, and that was accepted in the, what was the name of that university in Montreal?
The Life and Teachings of Lord Caitanya?
Yeah, the Life and Precepts of Lord Caitanya, right. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu's Life and Precepts, and that was accepted at the McGill University in Montreal in Canada. So he was already doing this, but he wanted Saraswati Thakur to take it all over the world in a very grand way, which he did, through especially Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and then later through Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. After his day's work, he would remain awake late into the night, reading and writing sacred devotional literature and poetry. This is Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. He wrote, edited, and published over 100 books in several languages, and he was the first to send his books out of India and introduce the teachings of Srimad Mahaprabhu to the Western world. Feeling compassion for suffering humanity, he delivered in sweet and lucid style Śrī Caitanya Dev's message of taking the holy name in a mood of surrender. Srila Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj said that Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur saw it as self-evident that the intelligentsia could not but be attracted by such a plain, simple, and dignified gift. The gift of Mahaprabhu. The conception of Mahaprabhu. And Thakur Bhaktivinod himself said, many things are going on in religion in the name of the highest solution of our life. But what Mahaprabhu has given very soon will be detected by the intelligentsia of the world, and all will flock to the banner of Śrī Caitanya Dev and will sing the glory of Mahaprabhu and Krishna. So it can't help, that can't help, it cannot help but happen. It must happen. That those who have fine intellect will come to Mahaprabhu. There's no question. So Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur said that very strongly in that talk in Dinajpur. And that was, they didn't argue with him, probably very much, because Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur was super, super brilliant and greatly respected. And what he said, he could back it up. Shinama Chintamani Samprachayaraya Adarsham Acharya Vidau Dedauya Shri Jagaruka Smriti Mandire Kim Nityam Bhaved Bhakti Vinoda Deva. This is written by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. When will Bhaktivinod Prabhu, who gave us the example of how to act by preaching the jewel of the holy name, remain alive in the temple of my memory? That's the meaning of that verse. I'll read it again. When will Bhaktivinod Prabhu, who gave us the example of how to act by preaching the jewel of the holy name, remain alive in the temple of my memory?
Who wrote that verse?
Srila Guru Maharaj. Actually, Srila Guru Maharaj really captured the heart of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur by his praise of Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur once surprised his audience by saying that shallow thinkers appreciate Vrindavan, but a man of real bhajan, real divine aspiration, will aspire to live in Kurukshetra. He noted that Thakur Bhaktivinod, after visiting many different places of pilgrimage, remarked, I would like to spend the last days of my life in Kurukshetra. Srila B.R. Sridhar Dev Goswami revealed the conception behind this statement. Service is more valuable according to the intensity of its necessity. According to its necessity, service is valued. In Kurukshetra, Śrīmati Radharani is in the highest necessity because Krishna is so close, but their Vrindavan Leela is impossible. Do you understand where Kurukshetra about? So, in the great lunar eclipse or solar eclipse, that's a time when people would go to the holy places, right? And during that great eclipse, Krishna went to Kurukshetra. Is actually a dharmic kshetra. It was also called dharmic kshetra. So in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, dharmic kshetra, Kurukshetra, Samahama. Dharmic kshetra, Kurukshetra. Oh, forget it. I can't remember. Don't forget it. I forgot it. That is crazy. But anyway, there it is. So they were all converging there, and then devotees from Vrindavan, the souls from Vrindavan also went. But Krishna is there, but he's the king. He's a king. He's showing his king form. And he's the big elephants and the soldiers and the ministers and the grandeur of Dwarka is there. And of course the Braja Gopis are there. And of course they're seeing that externally Krishna is in this mood. And so they're there with him. But it's like when the ball comes close to the goal, but it doesn't go in. That's a very intense situation. And we're very aware of that because we used to live across, the temple in East London was across at that time from the West Ham to you. Did you?
Site of pilgrimage of the
yes, of the local people. Were you ever there during a game?
Yeah, we used to try to hand out books and stuff after the game.
Oh, that was very brave of you.
It wasn't super successful, but sometimes we got to give some connection to the hooligans that they were. But
when you could tell when there was almost a goal, you could hear it all over the neighborhood. And what did it sound like? Oh! It wasn't like, ah! It was real, oh! And so Guru Maharaj says, when the ball comes near the goal, and then is deflected, a certain portion of the audience is very much disappointed. But when the ball is just in the general thing, it's not such a big deal. So Kurukshetra is that type of situation. So Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur is saying that is where real service will be counted, in that great necessity. According to its necessity, service is valued. In Kurukshetra, Śrīmati Radharani is in the highest necessity because Krishna is so close, but their Vrindavan Leela is impossible. Krishna is there in Kurukshetra, so near, but he is in the role of a king, and they cannot meet in their normal degree of intimacy. At this time, Śrīmati Radharani needs the highest service from her group of servitors. Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur says that in this heartbreaking situation, a drop of service will draw the greatest amount of prema, of divine love. So we're just taking all this on our heads. We're hearing something about that. Srila Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur sometimes spoke of returning to Vrindavan. Quote, I began to feel that my life had been spent uselessly, he said. I had not accomplished anything. I had not been able to taste the nectar of the joy of serving Shri Shri Radha Krishna, the personification of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. If I could, I would have liked to retire from my job in a few years, and then I would go to Mathura Vrindavan and engage myself in devotional service. I went to Tarakeshwar on some errand, and while I was sleeping there, the Lord came to me at night and said, you are thinking of going to Vrindavan, but what about the work you are supposed to do in Navadvip, which is close to your home? You're leaving Navadvip to go to Vrindavan, but you forgot your job there in Navadvip. So Thakur Bhaktivinod was, we don't really understand the mentality and the heartfelt feelings of the Vaishnava. He had accomplished so much in his life. But he's thinking, what have I done? What have I done with my life, with my time? Always this hankering, this eternal hankering of love. Beautiful thing that we hear a little bit about from time to time. But this was his feeling, and he's thinking, now I'll go to Vrindavan. But when Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur goes to Vrindavan, he goes to Vrindavan. And when we go to Vrindavan, we go with the blessings of Guru and with the mood of really worshipping every grain, every piece of dust, and trying to remember and not be distracted by the fact that somebody's trying to run me over with a motorcycle, and not to be distracted by those things on the surface, and also not trying to imagine things, but to remember what we've been given. But when Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur says, I must go to Vrindavan, he's going to Vrindavan. And there, his consciousness, not that if he's going to Vrindavan, then he's not doing service at Kurukshetra. These things don't have to be physically defined. So remembering this, it is a mood of a mood of seva that can come to these kinds of levels of divine existence. So he got this revelation in Tarakeshwar. Why are you trying to leave? You have some seva to do still. Thakur Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur said, after I came back from Tarakeshwar, every Saturday I would go from Krishna Nagar to Navadvip to look for the places of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Because when Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur took his place at Krishna Nagar, but I couldn't find anything, and that made me very sad. Once while visiting Kulia, now Navadvip, he looked late at night from the rooftop overlooking the Ganges. In the introduction to Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, his life and precepts, it says, during deep meditation on the birthplace of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, he is said to have seen in a vision a luminous building toward the northeast. The next morning he went to the vicinity of that place and that had appeared to him. He came to know of a place that was being adored by some of the residents as the true birth site of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. They pointed out an extensive mound covered with tulsi plants and informed him that this was the actual site of the house where Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu had appeared. He became extremely joyful. And others in the locality were complaining that this place couldn't be cultivated. It was just, nothing would grow there but tulsi. But others had that from somehow in their lives, in their family tradition or something. They knew that this was the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. We should adore, we should worship. So I'm just going to read this next little part. Actually, this is quite a big part, but I'm just going to read this anyway. But this, I'll share this link if anybody wants it. It's not easy to find. It just kind of popped up. And then this morning, because I thought I would read from this today, maybe, if there was time. But I would like to read the whole thing. Actually, it's really a nice article. But I couldn't find it because I wanted to put it on something larger and not read from my phone. But here we are, and I couldn't find it. But I do have the link, so I can share it. We should adore, we should worship. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj spoke to a group of new disciples in London saying, Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur was a great Acharya of this disciplic succession from Krishna. We should adore, we should worship. But in the modern age, he introduced the disciplic succession. In this succession of the Acharyas, the Acharyas are authorities. Our process of knowledge is very simple. Our process of knowledge is very simple. We take it from the authority. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu 500 years ago taught this philosophy. So our adoration, our worship is to Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur today because He may bless us to make peaceful progress in Krishna consciousness. Acharya Upasana, simply by the blessings of the Acharyas, we can make very rapid progress. So that's what we're looking for. That's the treasure of our life. This prayerfulness to the Acharyas. Acharya Upasana. Simply by the blessings of the Acharyas, we can make very rapid progress. They can, when we say Krishna say tomar, Krishna dite para, Krishna is yours, you can give him. This is an actual fact. Vedenu durlabam adurlabam atma bhakto. Vedeshu, it should say. Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhakto. Very difficult to get from the Veda. This is also from Brahma Samhita. Advaita machuta manadam anantarupam ajam purana purushang navayovanang cham vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhakto. To go to approach that Krishna through the Veda is really difficult. But it is not difficult if one can approach that person whose heart is full of devotion. Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhakto. Rupa nugavarya hanya Śrī Bhaktivinod Darya Bahe Shuddha Moda. Srila Saraswati Thakur said, Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur is the best of the followers of Śrī Rūpa Goswāmī. The pure joy of devotional service comes in the stream that started from him. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj has said that Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur relished the deep devotional writings of Sri Jamuna Acharya. Oh, so many beautiful things, right? Even though Jamuna Acharya was in the Lakshmi Narayan Sampradaya and not in the line coming down from Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur very much appreciated his divine sentiments. And this is carried on in our line ever since then. So Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur's appreciation of those inner sentiments of Jamuna Acharya. So, we are also able to relish those things. In one talk, Srila Govinda Maharaj noted, I'll just finish here. In the book Sharanagati, there are so many songs which are necessary for us to translate. Whoever understands the meaning of the poetry of Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur will understand what is dedication, what is renunciation, and what is devotion. One who is dedicated with devotion will get so many qualities and qualifications. One who is fully dedicated must get progress in his spiritual life. So Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur was not a renunciant in the external sense, a false renunciation. His existence was completely devoted. There wasn't no mundanity in his. So real renunciation is the giving up of mundanity. One can be a householder or anything, but he is always in a prayerful mood. That manasa deha geha yo kichumor. Whatever is mine, my mind, my house, all these things, they're for you. They're for you. So no one has to give up so many things. But it is dedication that is necessary. And then all of the mundane tints of everything will be removed through that. And that's what we want, not artificial renunciation. That is not good for us. It's unhealthy and untrue. It won't lead to divinity. But it's the mood of service and devotion that we're trying to cultivate in the position that we're in. As long as it's not too, as long as, our habits are not too devastating for us, then we can dedicate everything to the Lord. And we don't want to be artificially renounced, thinking, oh, this is so much Maya. But within that zone of household life or anything, all those things will be purified through the mood of dedication, and that happy household is super, super exemplary. It is a great shining light in the world, actually. So we'll stop here, even though there's so much more in this article. But I really appreciated this when I was looking through it yesterday. It's really well put together. And again, this is from one of our god sisters, Jagamohini Dīdī, who now lives in Oregon, in Portland. Haribol. Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur Avirbhava Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. We're not, sitting here thinking we're some kind of a, we're all just trying to become simple-hearted and give our lives in a sincere and happy way. All of us are doing that. All of us are hoping and aspiring for such a happy life at the feet of such personalities. Otherwise we come under the influence of exploiters, and we will become also degraded by that company. So, Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur and his divine followers, Ki Jai. All right. Oh, maybe we should sing one song by Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. Okay. Can you give me a songbook, Prabhu? Okay, this is on page 170 of this book. Manasa deho geho yogi chumora arpilo tuya pare nanda kishora. Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur ki Jai, Śrī Abhirbhav Mahāmahotsava ki Jai, Mahāmahotsava ki Jai, Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govindade Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Śrīla Bhakti Rakak Śrī Dardev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Śrī Rūpa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai, Śrī Caitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda ki Jai, Jai Sadgoswami Prabhu ki Jai, the whole divine line coming from Mahaprabhu ki Jai. And we barely came, hopefully, to put our head at the edge of the shore of the ocean of the qualities of Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur. Haribol Jai, Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu ki Jai, Saparshad Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Jai Śrī Caitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai, Tadiya Shakamat ki Jai, Śrī Caitanya Saraswat Mission ki Jai, Kol Kartal ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Haribol Jai, Jai Gurudev ki Jai. And if there's any question online, I better hear it. Because I didn't hear one yesterday and got into trouble for it.
Kyo says, wasn't Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur a judge? A judge? I'm not sure.
Yes,
that's what I think I heard.
He was a magistrate, yeah.
Yes, and then we have some comments. Do you want to hear them?
Sure. I mean, if they're not about me, if they are about me to correct me, then that would be good.
Lavanelli says, What a beautiful kirtan in the mode of highest Saranagati. Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur ki
Jai. Beautiful.
Shanta Didi says Dandavat. And Vimal Krishna Prabhu says Dandavat. Śrīla Bhaktivinod Ṭhākur ki Jai.
Jai.
And Divya Shakti Didi is also.
Jai. Wonderful. Hare Krishna.
He already has the consistency, huh? He's got the consistency, devotional service, and the mood of listening.
He's like a bumblebee. He's just going from, he's always drinking, but, he's going one place to another, always trying to find some more nectar. Really, Bimal's like that. And his whole family. Jai. Hare Bol.